Welcome to Bordeaux. We visited this interesting city located on the banks of the River Gironde. And in this video I'll show you what we saw when we took a walking tour around the city, and I'll tell you a little about each place we pass. And apologies if I get some place names wrong, my French is not good at all. Anyway, there's an established heritage trail around Bordeaux, with the route marked with these metal studs on the ground showing you the way. I'll show you this route on our battered map of the city. If you stick to this route, then it's around 4 kilometers in length. But in this video I'll show you everything on that route, plus we'll take in a couple of detours to add a few other sites along the way. The route we're taking is around double the length at 8 kilometers, and actually starts here at the Roman amphitheatre ruins of Palais Gallien. We'll take in this park, and then join the walking route at the Monument aux Girondins. We'll follow that route until it reaches the Muséum d'Aquitaine, where we'll head down to check out the Place de la Victoire. We'll then rejoin the route to see the Big Bell, then head off again to check Saint-Michel, then the Porte de Bourgogne, before crossing the Pont de Pierre to visit Place de Stalingrad. Then we're back across the bridge to make our way all the way up the side of the river, all the way to the World War II submarine base. Then it's the spaceship, Wine City, and then we'll catch the riverboat back, passing under Bordeaux's amazing lift bridge. So we've got a lot to see, so get your walking boots on and let's get going. And here we are at our start, the Palais Gallien. Mostly lost to history, this Roman amphitheatre was built in the 2nd century and is the oldest and largest Gallo-Roman building in the region. It has had a checkered history. For example, during the Frankish invasion of Gaul between 275 and 276, the building was irreparably damaged. Later, in the 16th century, it was used as a fort, and then later, during the French Revolution, many people faced the guillotine here. Its stones were often taken to build new structures, but the impressive gate of the setting sun remains to this day. Let's move on now to the nearby public park. This landscape park was laid out in 1746, originally as a French garden of 10 hectares. Remodelled in 1856, today it features a duck pond and many interesting statues, a play park and a carousel. In the middle, the pavilion of the old greenhouse is particularly impressive. We've now moved on to the Place de Quinconces with its unmissable grand fountain. Today there's a large event happening and many games of Molka take place. This area was laid out in 1820, having previously been the site of a fortress called Chateau Trompette, which was built at the end of the 100 Years' War. However, it was destroyed in the early 19th century. At one end of the plaza you'll see the twin rostal columns that were built in 1828. And of course at the other end is the amazing Girondin column and fountain, built in 1893 to pay homage to the heroes of the Revolution, and at the top of the column stands a statue representing the genius of liberty, breaking chains and brandishing the palm of victory. A short walk away is the Place de la Comédie. Here you'll see the Grand Theatre of the National Opera of Bordeaux, which dates back to 1780. Across from it is the Grand Hôtel, built in 1789 by architect Victor Louis, who also did the Opera House. When we visited, there was also this giant head sculpture called Sanna, created by the artist Joan Plensa, originally one of 11 art pieces placed across the city in 2013. Sanna was bought by a mysterious art patron and has remained here ever since. We're now at the Church of Our Lady of Bordeaux. This building is richly decorated in a typical Baroque style of the Counter-Reformation period and was built by the Dominican order. It features elaborately carved stone figures on the front of the building. Inside you'll find opulent Gothic-style decoration, including religious scenes painted by Frère André in the 17th century. Just next door is the Cour Mably, Salle Capitulaire. Constructed between 1684 and 1707, it formed part of the former Dominican monastery. During the French Revolution, in 1790 it became the headquarters of the Society of Friends of the Constitution. Later, between 1886 and 1889, it was refurbished to house the Municipal Library and Art Museum. Since its restoration in 1994, it is home to the Regional Finances Chamber, and the former chapter house is used to host temporary art exhibitions and events, such as concerts and conferences. Outside there's a rather stern-looking statue of the Spanish painter and printmaker Francisco Goya. Having moved to Bordeaux in 1824, he played out the remaining years of his life in the city and is laid to rest here too. Moving on, we pass through the Place of the Great Men, which is lined with really nice cafes. And eventually arrive at the Théâtre Français. Originally built in 1800, it has suffered numerous fires, but was always rebuilt. Today it hosts a 12-screen cinema complex. We're now arriving at the Porte Dijeaux, one of Bordeaux's historic city gates. We'll see some more on our journey, but Porte Dijeaux was built during the mid-1700s in the neoclassical style, originally called Porte Dauphine, under the reign of Louis XV, in honour of the Dauphin and future King of France, Louis XVI. After the Revolution though, it became known as Porte Dijeaux. Atop the arch are symbols of the monarchy, a crown and the fleur-de-lis. On the other side, you'll see the coat of arms of Bordeaux and the towers of the Grosse Cloche, which we'll see later. Here we are in the heart of the city, with the centrepiece being the magnificent cathedral. We'll check that out in a moment, but first we're going to take a look at the City Hall. Originally named Rouen Palace, it was built between 1771 and 1784 for the Archbishop Roer-Gumen. But from 1836 through to today, it has served as a town hall. It features an austere Louis XVI style facade at the front. But don't miss out on seeing the gardens at the rear. Just head round the back of the building and you can enjoy the English style landscape gardens and fish pond. And now we come to the amazing Cathedral of Saint-André, a classic Gothic style cathedral that went through many changes from its beginning in the 12th century through to the 15th century when it adopted the basic shape you can see today. It was consecrated on May 1st, 1096 by Pope Urban II and has been used for 2 French royal weddings in the past. Close by is the Pey Berland Tower, which bears the name of the Archbishop who commissioned its construction in 1440. On top sits a statue of Our Lady of Aquitaine, a 6-metre copper statue weighing 1.3 tonnes. For those not afraid of confined spaces, you can climb the tower for €9. However, there are 233 circular steps to climb, which means when you reach the first terrace, 40 metres up, it won't be the height that will be making you dizzy. The tower was built separate to the cathedral so that its bells could toll freely without worry that the vibrations would damage the cathedral. However, it wouldn't be until 1853 before it actually got some bells. You can climb a further 10 metres to the top terrace and see the best views across Bordeaux city. With our heads still spinning, we head off down the road. We pass the Museum d'Aquitaine, closed today, and continue on down the road for a while. This is our southernmost destination on our journey, Victory Square. We came here to see Porte d'Aquitaine, built in 1753 in homage to the Duke of Aquitaine. Prior to 1918, Victory Square was actually called Saint-Julien Square, and so the gate is also known as Saint-Julien Gate. What you can also see here is the Column of the Vine and Wine, a wonderfully twisted marble monument to winemaking in the region. One of the most famous landmarks in Bordeaux has to be the Grosse Cloche, or Big Bell, housed in this amazing gate which once served as a former dungeon for juveniles. The 18th century bell is almost 8 tonnes and is rung only on special occasions. This busy area, called Saint-Michel, focuses around the Basilica of Saint-Michel. Constructed over 200 years ago in a flamboyant Gothic style, it too has a separate tower, called locally the Spire. Sadly, the 114-metre high tower was closed and surrounded by scaffolding when we visited. At last we arrive on the banks of the River Garonne as we make our way to the Porte Dijeaux. Another stone arch, this time built in the 1750s, it represents a symbolic gateway to the city from the Porte de Pierre Bridge. Commissioned by Napoleon and inaugurated in 1822, the bridge has 17 spans and remains the first stone bridge ever built in Bordeaux. And our next stop is across that bridge. Unmissable on the other side is the large lion sculpture. Dominating the Place de Stalingrad, the Blue Lion is a popular selfie location, created in 2005 by local artist Xavier Bilhan. It doesn't represent anything in particular, but certainly can't be missed. We're going to cross back over the bridge and head on up the banks of the river. Our next destination is Porte Dijeaux. Built between 1493 and 1496 on the site of the ancient defensive gate. This gatehouse honoured King Charles VIII's conquest of the Kingdom of Naples and was once the main entrance to the city. Our next stop is really impressive. The Place de la Bourse. It's an iconic city square surrounded with 18th century architecture and another impressive fountain. Originally though, there stood a statue of Louis XV here, but this was destroyed during the French Revolution. It was replaced by a Corinthian column fountain, which lasted until 1869, when the current Fountain of the Three Graces sculpture was installed. We continued on the banks of the river, which is a great place to walk, but we did take a detour along to check the church of Saint-Louis de Chartron. This neo-Gothic grand building dates back to the 19th century and represents a focal point for the Chartron area of Bordeaux. The next stop is just around the corner, the small Halle de Chartron, an octagonal concert hall and gallery built in 1869. It features a unique 18-arched window design. Around it you'll find many cafes and bars, and it's one of the liveliest places to hang out. We actually stayed a little too long here, so the next part of this walking tour actually continues the following day. Okay, it's day 2 and we're up early and we've come all the way north to the port area of the city. This is the Second World War U-boat base that has been repurposed today as an art and cultural centre. Here you can experience the Basins of Light exhibition, which is an incredible show. I've already done another video about the history of this base and what this show is like, and you can check that out on this channel. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. One of the more unusual sights in the port area is this flying saucer. Created by artist Suzanne Tristar, this 17-metre diameter spacecraft aims to remind us of the war and conflict of the past being left behind as we move to a different future. I'm not so convinced of that, but it sure looks cool. The port area has many trendy bars and restaurants, as well as some interesting sights to see. Dominating the skyline on the banks of the river is the City of Wine. This high-tech museum takes you through the history of winemaking in this area. The curved aluminium and glass building is in the shape of wine as it pours into a glass. It's very unique and very eye-catching in the sun. Behind the building is a riverboat port where you can catch the regular boats that travel along the river. If you've bought a bus or tram ticket, then these are also valid on this boat. This gives you a chance to go underneath the amazing Pont Jacques Chaban-Delmas. Built in 2013, this is a lift bridge and raises its central section for passing ships. It's 575 metres long and has a span of 110 metres. Making it the largest vertical lift bridge in the world. And this marks the end of our journey around Bordeaux. I hope you enjoyed coming around with us to see the sights. If you'd like a copy of this route map that we used, you can find it on the Travelling Tourist Facebook page, where you can download it for free. There's a link in the description of this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video, somewhere else in the world. See ya!